stupid. That's annoying. So first rule of DJing, don't play the same damn track for longer than 5 minutes. Man, that's stupid. It's crazy how people get into shit and they don't know how to do it. You know, it's like that. Anyway. I'm not sure I'm liking this music too much. It's a good channel, but the DJ that's on this time is kind of a douche. Oh well. Yes, hello to my one guest who's watching. Secretly lurking in the shadows of the internet. Did you catch my debate last night? It was the great debate. That's weird. What's funny is like the debate is Nick Fuentes a plant or not, and I argued that he's not. But like the anti-Fuentes people today are having a field day because of some pretty retarded things that he said. That's like, it seems like only his fans know when he's joking and when he's trolling, and everybody else is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you just said that." Can you? And then like the internet goes on fire with like all these like clips, like, "Look what he said! Oh my god, look what he said!" And so like everybody who hates him gets their chance to hate, you know, and be like, "Oh, see, look," and I don't know. There's a certain one of the topics that is just not even approachable. It's just, I'm not even gonna go there, kind of. But I kind of feel it's like, this is what I mean about being too young. You know, it's like you should have some sense that, like, especially with as much influence as he has, like, you really should be careful what you say. You know, if you're gonna be the guy, you know, some kind of a big influencer, and don't make stupid jokes that people can misunderstand, and now you gotta get. And who even knows? I don't know how that's all gonna play out, but a lot of people are gonna distance themselves from him because of that. And and he's like, I don't care if you do that. I like being unpopular. And like, all I'm hearing is I'm immature, and I'm immature. And I'm like, stop doing that, dude. And it's too late though. You can't, how do I say this? You won't know until you're older and you look back and you're like, you're gonna want to punch yourself for doing stupid shit like that. And you're gonna ask yourself like, why the fuck did I think that was okay? But especially when you have a huge amount of power and influence at that age, it's just not. It's not a good recipe. You know what I'm saying? You're just too young for it. I mean, even older people can misuse power and influence and let their ego get the best of them. So it's not like a big shock. Nobody's really here. Oh, who's here? Paddy Irish. Oh, well, it's the locally Irish for me down there. I'm so glad that you're back. Let me pour a pint of Guinness for ye. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here, my friend. Hi, Don. I'm the lurker just coming from work, was on late. I listened back to some of the debate. It was a tough one. I love a good struggle session. Hit me up, man. Talk to me, man. I want to hear. What did you think? What was your impressions? Let me turn the music down a little. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, my God, my God. Edda Volk is an old friend. We've known each other a very, very long time. To be honest, like, I would say, like, from the very, very beginnings of Donald Kent and my work in this movement, that's when I knew her, like from day one almost. I actually had a what do you call it, a Facebook group, and I think that's possibly somehow where we connected. I got kicked off Facebook. I'm banned from Facebook basically, but anyway, yeah. So we have a really long history, pretty much. I gotta stop saying That's really unprofessional. I'll say bum. How about that? Bum. Anyway, so I love her, and it's not like anything personal. I will say that I was pretty frustrated with the interruptions. That kind of pissed me off a lot. But I did it again. You're in a debate. You got to be on your toes. I think that it's what it is. What do we got here? Patty says, I listened back. I read that already. All right. Yeah, and I think what happens is there were many times where I was halfway through explaining something, and she would cut me off and say, why, who, when, where, what. And that was jarring to me. I'm trying to get my ideas in order, and I kept being interrupted in that way. And so I ended up not really saying everything with the clarity and depth that I wanted to. So I'm pissed off about that. I'm not kind of blaming her so much, but I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't really expecting to have to deal with, like, what do you call that? Like, when people debate, there's certain things they do that it's not actually debating. It's just other stuff that they say and do. But, whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a part 2 or something, or not. I don't know. But there it is. So I think at the very least, it's a pretty significant discussion for where we are right now. It's like a little historic bookmark for 2026. You know, I was actually planning on playing a lot more media, like every 5 minutes, take a break and play a song, play a funny video, play a clip of something, and then just get back to the discussion. But it seemed like that would have broken the flow. It didn't seem quite like that was quite the right thing to do, so I didn't do that. As such, though, I noticed that people were leaving the show. There's a little number there that tells you how many people are watching the show, and I can understand maybe people have things to do, but I took it more like, oh, this is getting boring, and I'm leaving. Whereas had I played some media clips, that could have been a little more fun, and people maybe would have hung around. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I'm going to be doing a lot more of that on my shows. Let's read Mr. Paddy Irishman. No, let's take a look here. You made a good effort at projecting a more optimistic game plan. I think you were cut off from making it to your end of argument. Personally, I'd be a middle ground between you guys. Yes, I did that. You literally just said what I said. Like I wasn't able to finish a lot of the points, and it just kept kind of getting muddled up. So I'm angry about that in the sense that anybody who didn't communicate what they wanted to would be angry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. That's kind of the deal of it. You know. Regardless, I did get across some of the points. For me, at the end of the day, I feel like people in the dissident right have been so brutalized by years of shit that we now have a type of nihilism, cynicism, whereby we expect everything to be bad, and and anytime something good comes, we're completely blind to it, and we even to some extent shut it down because we're so black-pilled. And I think what that does is it makes us lean into conspiracy, and conspiracy is a sort of like, I believe this to be negative, or I believe this to be this way, therefore I'm going to find reasons to justify what I believe, which is confirmation bias. And there's quite a lot of speculation out there in general, like that we just generally have to have. It's just kind of what, politics is. You speculate based on limited information, and trying to figure out, the chessboard or what have you. Let's read a little bit more here. Exactly my thoughts. It just seems like a really wise gal. She is very, very educated. She's been around quite a bit. Patty says, thing is, a lot of us have been bitten in the ass, got let down by others in the movement despite giving it our all. It's bittersweet. You seem to be able to put that experience aside. That's rare. So that is rare, and that's kind of what's unique to the whole Donald Kent experience, is that I'm not like that. And I'll be honest, I have a couple friends that we have like some ongoing debates about Nick Fuentes, and they can get pretty intense, to say the least. What is letting me down is not this notion that like Nick's a Fed or some bullshit, but that Nick is just immature kid that says dumb shit sometimes, and then that illegitimizes the good stuff that he's doing. And there's nobody that can tell him like, "Hey, Nick, I mean this as a friend, but like, don't do that. You're making yourself look like an asshole." You know, because like again, when you're so full of your fucking self and your ego, you're just you know drunk on the vapors of your own ego, then nobody can reach you. I've known people, big name people in the dissident right, that are exactly that. They're like, I don't know, there should be a word for this where it's like, oh, there's got to be a word for that. We should make up a word for that. Like, fuck, I don't know. I'll have to think of that. But if you do approach them and say, well, I respect what you're doing, or whatever, I'm your buddy, but, when you say these things or you act this way, you end up shooting yourself in the foot because of XYZ. And like a normal adult reaction to that would be like, oh shit, oh my God, really? Oh my God, oh shit, no thanks, man, I really appreciate your pointing that out. But to these egomaniacs, instead it's like, how dare you? And it's like the emperor's new clothing. That it literally is the emperor's new clothing. That's like the perfect example. And I find that the bigger the names, the more unapproachable they are, the more egomaniacal they are. Even I would even say to some extent that some of them, because they have such petty, childish egos, they'll turn against their own people. And Fuentes does that a lot. Like he'll lambaste his own followers. They'll say things and then he'll just like tear them to shreds. And they have to pay to talk to him in these chats, and then he'll like humiliate them. To me, this is just fucking low character. You don't have to be an asshole. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an asshole. But I feel like that's just part and parcel with the, I don't know, 20-year-old gamer culture. It's just a normal way of behaving. You don't, and I'm around guys like that. Like I got guys like that around me all the time, to be honest. And they don't understand like why I get so angry at them. They're like, well, we beat the shit out of each other all the time. Why can't we do that to you, Don? Like what why are you not talking to me? What did I do? Like, you know what I mean? It's just this lack of self awareness. I think when you're playing total strangers on the internet for years of your life and you have zero accountability in your behavior, that bleeds into your normal relationships, and then it gets pretty fucked up. So I don't tolerate that kind of shit. I mean, I don't get involved in other people's fights and stuff so much. Like I'll be like, okay, free speech or whatever. But what happens is that it sucks all the air out of the room. So like if I'm on Telegram or in some group or someplace and two people are ripping each other to shreds, everybody else will leave. It is what it is. And so in a sense, it's actually bad for me in that I'm trying to create a space where everybody feels welcome. You know what I mean? So the dissident right has some real personality problems for sure. I don't hate it for that. I'm not like, I know people that are like dissident right people who hate the dissident right, which is kind of weird if you think about it. But they just say like really nasty things about a bunch of losers, incels. Let's read a little bit. Mr. Patty says, many in the DR are emotionally attached to their own theories, Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Let's. There's my buddy. Hold on. Hold on. Show gooning. Thank you, sir. I know I used to be able to read katakana, and I've forgotten what that says. I used to be able to read Japanese. I can't. I don't know what that says. Anyway, many of the fears. When people like Fuentes put our ideas to the test IRL, a lot of people get resentful. We have to support our doers, leaders more. Nicely said. Well done. Boy, oh. When am I going to make it to Ireland, man? Tired of the excuses. Get over there right now. A friend of mine just got back from Paris, and one of my best friends lives in Paris. So now I'm like dying over here. It's like, I don't, my life is not in a place right now where I can travel. I can't do that right now. But he's like, yeah, we'll go sometime, something. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. My vision of Paris is, and all of Europe, frankly, is really, really skewed by the news of like the Muslims and the Africans and the fuckery, of all that going on over there. I see Europe as like a very dangerous place. As badly as I want to go there, I'm afraid to go there. You know what I'm saying? And that's awful. That sucks. It's shameful. I'm not European in the sense that if somebody attacked me on the streets, I would maybe beat them to death, or at least to unconsciousness, And I'm sure that I would get like arrested for that or something. You know what I'm saying? And if they found, they saw my internet history, then like I could be languishing in like a, like a British jail or something like that. So I don't know. Axel, you drew Marvel comics. My dad is a huge fan of it. I don't work for Marvel, if that's what you're asking, but I've drawn Marvel characters, and I love Marvel. I'm a huge fan too. What am I don't happen to have anything like around that I could pull out and show you at the moment. I'm just because I'm focused on the work here, but yeah, I'm a big Marvel fan. So when I say I'm a Marvel fan, that essentially means like not like the original Marvel, not the kind of Hollywood Marvel. There's some movies I like and some parts of movies that I like and this and that, but Hollywood's changed Marvel so much that when people who don't read comics talk about it, they don't actually know what they're talking about. And the same for DC Comics. Because we had a whole, I mean, I've been reading these since I grew up, since I was a little kid. Where I lived, right down the street, I could ride my bike there. There were two places to buy comic books, like little convenience stores where you get whatever stuff you need for around the house. And they had comics. And so, whenever I would go there, I would always look at the comics. And they were very, very cheap back then. So I could ask my dad for some money, and I'd ride my bike up there with my brother or my friends, and everybody would get comic books. and then we would share them, like, oh, so Jeff got this month's Hulk, or Jim got Spider-Man, or whatever, and then anytime there were new titles out, we'd be like, whoa, there's something new. Look, what's this? You know, what's this book about? Something. And so, yeah, it was great to grow up like that and have all that fun, and it's just amazing. It was a great time to be a kid. Bam. Patty says, I was drawing some dinosaurs in work earlier with the ballpoint. You gotta make do sometimes. Good for you, buddy. Comic is coming along nicely. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I2442 is here. Welcome to the show. What's going on with this interactive internet activities tonight, y'all? Parisian Dreams not covered in dog shit and turd worlders. Yeah. And and that's I know that breaks my heart. The whole situation with Europe and that I don't know. I'm a little on the exhausted side, so I don't want to go into like some big negative thing about that. But yeah, that's a thing. British jail, lol. Patty says, I liked Miller's Daredevil run very much so, yes. I left a copy of Born Again in my church library. Oh my God. One for the kids. Wow. That's a cool move, bro. That was a cool move, my man. Good work. You rock, dude. You're not all heroes wear capes. Welcome to Mr. Veritas 6993. I mean, hello, friend. How often do you pick? Yeah. Well, let's get to work here. What do you say? Have some fun times. So, as an artist, occasionally, like when I was a painter, when I did more painting, you would have like a cup of, say, coffee, and then a cup where you have your brushes and you put your brush in the water and clean your brush. And I every artist has done this, where you accidentally drink the brush water, that's got like watercolor in it or something like that. So like that's one of those things that they say that they believe that part of Van Gogh's madness was due to the chemicals in the paints that he was using. That's true. There's some really toxic chemicals in oil paint. Anyway. Whether or not, I don't know how, I don't know that there's like scientific evidence proving that, but it's probably very likely. The guy he had problems. He had pretty... It's more than just problems. When you're an artist of that caliber, you're just too sensitive for this world. You feel things way stronger than most other people. And it's hard. It just is hard. You can't really... Sometimes like the existential weight of life is kind of too much, This is kind of one of the projects that I want to be working on, is writing a nationalist art curriculum, and to take back what the arts are. People are so confused about everything. It's I would say, like, for example, like anybody can be an artist. No, if you're gonna act like that, then nobody can be an artist. You know what I mean? Because it's just Marxist, the idea that anybody can be an artist. That's bullshit. Anybody can pick up a pen and you can learn some tricks and techniques, but a real artist is it's a thing. It's a personality type. There's artists without mediums, though. There's people that never put the time in to learn how to express themselves, and they kind of, I don't know, get into other forms of other interests, other fields where they express that intelligence. Hui from Kelly Darnell. Kelly Darnell. Hui. Hi. Oh, hi, she says. Okay. Awesome. Welcome, Kelly. Great to have you. Great to have you. We got a bunch of new people here, so I feel like I'm going to take a minute to give you guys a real show of like my real art. So I'm going to back out a little bit. Whenever I get new people from the internet that just kind of discover my channel, I give them a special show. So you guys, it's your lucky day. You hit the jackpot. All right, but let me back up and read some comments before I start, okay? Today I draw Vash from Trigun. Excellent. Let's see. Charles is back. Awesome sauce. All right, hold on. Let's read. We got, hi, Donald. God bless you and everyone here. That is marvelous. Thank you, sir. Mr. Veritas says, I heard Van Gogh chewed his paintbrushes. Well, that's exactly what I was just saying. There's I forget one of the films about Van Gogh, and he basically, you see him like, he'll put the brush with paint on it in his teeth and bite down and pull to like clean the paint off. Now, I'll be honest, as a painter, there's been many times where I wanted to eat my paint. But that's like a little kid that eats his crayons, You have to say, like, no, I know it looks pretty, it looks nice. They're like they're like sauces, or they look like, what do you put on a cake? Like the shit, like that stuff, whatever, frosting and stuff. But it'll drive you crazy, it'll kill you. Patty says, you drink that sludgy brush water. This explains everything. Yes, you have just cracked the code, brother. You figured me out, my man. All right, let me move on. Mr. Veritas, that's interesting. I really like his paintings. Hello to the new people here. Who doesn't like Van Gogh painting, though? My favorite painting is Vermeer, but Van Gogh makes me the most emotional. Wow, man. We could get into some deep discussion. So I'm an art teacher. I've got like a whole background in the arts and blah de blah. So I don't know. I could kind of go there a little bit if we wanted to, but for now, let's get here instead. Some of my poetry in here. I'm gonna get straight to the artwork though. Kind of move forward a touch. Here's a piece. It's a little hard to see, but okay, Vermeer, Girl with a Pearl. Yes, wonderful. A scholar and a poet. Yes, sirree, Bob. You got it right there. You got it right. So this piece is a conceptual art piece. I would love to hear if you guys can interpret this. So when you're looking at a work of art, you can have two questions. What is it, and do I like it? And the third is really, why do I like it or not like it? So in here, first of all, what is it? Okay, it's a painting of this giant. He seems to be tied up with this vine. He's got a gold lion helmet and a sword. What are the symbols on the sword? What do they mean? Whoa, what's in the background? A burning church. Why is the church burning? What's going on down here? We see the crucifixion. We see the blood coming down. And then at the end here, we see this child sacrifice to Moloch. And then we come up and we see this eagle with a double-headed snake in his mouth. And then we come back, and there's just so many symbols that are playing and interplaying with each other here. What does it mean? Even if you first know what you're looking at, and then so you can, okay, well, what is this? What's the symbol of the lion? What are these symbols for? What does the artist intend with an eagle holding a double-headed snake? What could a double-headed snake be? Why is the giant pointing at me? Why is there an image of Jews giving babies to the Moloch on one side and then the crucifixion on the other? What's this? What does that mean? You see where I'm going? There's a lot of layers of meaning and symbolism here. Any ideas? Any takers? I'll let you think about that, and then this is the cover of the book. Similar thing here, we got conceptual art. I think it speaks for itself. I also have illustration work in here, some caricature cartoons, Friedrich Nietzsche. Her name slips my mind right now, that Pocahontas, I forget her name, Elizabeth Warren. This is a nice portrait of an actor. This is really just to tell people I can draw this well. So like if you see a cartoon or something and you think, oh well, he's, it's fine, but he's not really that good, then you can look at that and say, oh, okay, put that in your pipe and smoke it. There's some kind of cool, fun illustration work here. Everybody's gone silent. I don't know. Nobody's talking in the chat anymore. We got some comics here. So I do a lot of different work. And there you go. And now you know. Let's see if there's any other comics stuff in here. Got the Serif. There's some really cool shit in here. This book rocks. It's really, really good. You can buy a copy of this at my website. And my website is, you can look up Imperium Calling Art and Poetry of Donald Kent on Amazon and you'll find it. But at the homepage of this YouTube channel, there's my web address, kent-art.weebly.com. Click on that and bingo! Get yourself a copy of Imperium Calling. I think I got some really wanting to buy your coloring book. Oh, really? Okay. Mr. Veritas, tell me more about yourself. Do you know about, what sphere are you in? Are you, No White Guilt? Are you Return to the Land? Are you Patriot Front? Are you, you know what I mean? Where are you on the map of the dissident right? Who are your influencers? That's kind of an interesting way to approach people, It's like, what camp are you in, so to speak, Anyway, let me get back to work here a little bit. That first pick reminds me of the tragedy Prometheus Bound, when Zeus punished Prometheus for giving fire to the knowledge of humanity. I am just a patriotic WN. Got it. To Mr. Patty Irish, I want my work to be mythological. I want it to have that mythological quality. I'm creating my own myths and new myths for us. So what you just said feels pretty good. I'll just say that right now. I'm gonna just say it right now. That feels mighty good. Mighty fine. All right. Oh, marker's dry. I no like you. Come on, give me a good marker here. Patty says the dude looked like a literal god. In my painting or in the one you're referring to? Oh, that's a good marker. There you go. Hey, chat and Donald. Critical review. Welcome, welcome. What a night we had last night. What a debate, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's one of the best shows I've put out in a long time, to be honest. Very rigorous debate. The Jonathan Greenblatt clips were very, very, very poignant. Disturbing, of course, but they bring context to everything that we're doing. For people who are watching the debate and maybe don't know what we're about or what's going on, what we're fighting, I think that put things into perspective. So it was good to have those clips. I was going to play more like music and funny clips and just media to like make the show go along and just be a little more entertaining. But the way that the conversation was going, I just felt like I can't interrupt this. I've got to let this flow. Critical Review is my friend who debated me last night. It was fun. In Your Painting Too, good. Thank you for that. Hey, it was a great conversation. It's one for the history books, is what it is. When you do a show like that, you really wish people would watch it. It's like not just the effort that you put into it, but like the meaning of it, the purpose of it. There's quite a lot that we covered that's really, really important. It's very significant. So, did your audience respond to it, Etta? Have your I don't know if you got any feedback yet from your audience on that. It's pretty cool that you were able to live stream it as well. Two birds with one stone, I believe they call that. And it was like you were saying afterwards. It's like we could talk so much more about so many things. I'm interested in learning more about the content that you regularly do about German history and these kind of things. There's only so many hours in the day, though, right? It's. There's a buddy of mine, like a local guy that I know, and he was a philosophy teacher at some university locally. Kind of a new friend of mine, and I told him about my channel and that I'd like to have him on the show to talk philosophy mainly, right? That's his major. That's what he teaches. And he came up to me the other day and gave me a copy of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. And he's like, I got an idea. Let's both read this and then we'll talk about it on your show. Because it obviously the politics, this and that. And I was very like, oh, how nice of you to how thoughtful of you. While in my mind, I'm thinking, I do not have time to read this book. I do not, dude. If you knew what I'm doing in my life, there's just no way that I got time to do this. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? Anyway, we'll figure something out. So let's read some chats here. Oh, that was a great conversation. I'm building my video audience. I'll be live streaming tonight during the internet radio show. Very good. What's the topic of tonight's show? A Critical says, glad to hear you're interested. History, especially World War II. Very applicable to what's happening today. I can only imagine. Very cool having diverse guests and topics. Keeps things fresh. Philosophical topics always good. And the dude, if he's so refreshing. He's like, he has a kind of a childlike love of philosophy that's catchy. It's like really, really catchy. Like when you listen to him talk about it and like how he's so interested in ideas. That's a certain kind of person that's like that. That not everybody's like that, you know. And so I'm excited. You know, I'm excited about it. Um, Hopefully that'll come together at some point. So I'm not terribly worried about it. Tonight is a big, 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 big night. Got three of the best local DJs at this club I'm going to, and it's gonna be on fire. It's gonna be absolutely lit tonight. So I'm sent invitations to all my friends out on the house music scene, and oh my god, we're gonna have a freaking killer night. My muscles are gonna be in a lot of pain tomorrow. Like I'll be like, oh. Not just tomorrow, for the next couple days, because like I'll dance for like 3.5, 4 hours straight, and I mean, go. You know, I'll be going. You know, it's gonna be awesome. It's crazy how the music is so good, and of course I'm surrounded by beautiful women and good friends, and it's just such a positive experience that 3 hours can go by and you don't even notice it. Whereas, like, if I had to spend 3 hours at the gym, I'd fucking shoot myself in the head. You know, I'd be like, oh god, this is fucking boring as shit. You know, and plus, like, just the how exhausted you would be. You know, from 3 hour workout. You know, see, that's the magic of house music. Anyway, let's read on. I got some interesting comments. Okay, Mr. Veritas says, your first painting you asked about seems to be a message that the European spirit is damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that is up to the European to fight back against the Christ killers or something. I appreciate and I thank you for your interpretation. I would never, ever say that we are damned as a people. I'm a real positive guy, and I believe that we will win and that we are going to be the masters of our destiny, and that we're going through challenges now that will empower us for the future. I'm of a positive mindset. But you are correct in terms of, obviously it's something about the European people and the struggles that we have to go through. And it's interesting about what you say, the Christ killers. That's a interesting way to call them. You know what I mean? Muy interesante. Thank you for your interpretation. Veritas says, had a lot going on, not enough characters to post all that was going on. I gotcha. Seems to tie in the spirit of the European to Christ rather than the Babylonian sacrificial people. Yes, I mean, you know, when you see someone offering a baby to a cow-headed god, and they're, you know, feeding fire and all the various, all of that, you know, it's obviously pretty fucking ugly. You know, something very terrible is happening. Let's see. Based, we definitely aren't damned if we fight for ourselves. I can't. So, like, here's my angle on Europe and that. When shit gets to a certain point, it's gonna pop. People are gonna they're gonna get organized. They're gonna be more violent. there will be blood in the streets. It's going to be bad, and I'm not. I don't want that. I'm not saying let's do that. I'm just simply saying this is a normal reaction to people who are living under the shit that Europeans are living under. Europe, as we know in history, has had many revolutions. Many, think of the French Revolution and the guillotine and all of that. So it's not out of reality to kind of see what I'm saying, that's coming, Um, so that's that. That to me is the whole thing. Um, when and how, I don't know. I don't know. The sooner the better, though, in my view. And I know that's Fed posty, but I don't see. I don't know. I better shut up. Get myself in trouble. Shut up. It's one of the skills I have to learn, how to shut up. A great man once said, "Shut up and draw." I think it was Vincent van Gogh who once said, "Shut up and draw." No, he didn't say that. So I went through a Van Gogh phase in like high school, and I think it's just he's one of the mythological artists of the art world per se. You got to understand that like who makes it in history and who doesn't is determined by a certain class of people, and it's not really fair to everyone else and to the artists of the world that history just can like brush right by them. It's really, how do I say, it's like museums that kind of control these narratives. They have the money. They have the money invested in the works, and it makes sense for them to turn characters in history into, kind of mythological people. Like this painting is worth $1 million because, and then here, blah 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 blah. All the books published on Van Gogh. Yes, Van Gogh is definitely one side of the spectrum. Like in the arts, they ask you, do you want to be Van Gogh or Picasso? And Picasso is the rich guy with lots of girlfriends and a sports car and a beautiful villa and, popular guy out on the scene or whatever. Like he's the bull. And Van Gogh is, more the mentally unstable one. So like even though I am more Van Gogh, well, I was Van Gogh when I was young, and now I'm Picasso. Like that's just sort of who I became. But so I'll give you an example. When I can remember at one point during my education, they were talking about like how great Impressionism was, but the critics of the day hated Impressionism, and they said like the worst things about it. There was like, this is absolute shit. And then, and we're looking at, beautiful paintings by all of these Impressionist painters and thinking, why would they say that? These are really lovely paintings. And then my professor was like, okay, this is what was popular at the time. And the academy, and the arts establishment had art that was like photorealistic and dealt with, mythology and things of this nature. Exquisite art. But by today's leftist horseshit standards, that's bad because it's like, oh, that's the patriarchy. Like we have to like tear down the patriarchy. And that people who actually learn fucking skills and know how to paint and draw are somehow bad, you know, and we need to like turn this into like communism where everybody can be an artist, you know. And that's fuckery. That is fuckery right there. So when I create my nationalist art curriculum, I'm gonna essentially bring that back and say like, you know, in order to be in this in the arts, you have to have at least X level of skill, and anything beneath that, you're not ready yet, and don't show your work. Keep working. It doesn't. I'm not telling you to quit, but the standards have to be way higher, way higher. Not, you know, the shit that it is today. So that brings back the meritocracy to the arts. This is an important reflection of the meritocracy of society, you see. It's not that I'm trying to take the arts out of the hands of the people per se, you know, but rather to elevate the people to the arts. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. That was so intelligent. Holy shit. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Nothing Fed posty about that unless you are in the UK. Less talk, more drawing, yes sir. Yeah, I'm so frustrated with UK, Germany, France, Denmark. I mean, fuck, man. Those governments are just I can't say what I want to say. Because I love Europe. I love Europe, and to see the fucking hell that they're going through, I want them to fight like a motherfucker. I want them to fucking fight. Fight. Destroy these tyrants. Free yourself. They need some American revolutionary spirit. Gotta bring that over there. But it's not like, you know, it's not, I mean, we're living in a time where, how do we say, it's the military or whatever, this and that, it's not like the old days. With pitchforks and torches. Wow. What time is it? 8:20. I think I'm gonna get rocking. Oh, dude, every time I want to stop the show, Hippocratic Oath shows. Every single time. It's weird. It's weird. I'm like, dude, I love you, man. And I'm not gonna stop the show now because you're here. But like it's so frustrating. It's like, why does that happen? There's some weird things in life that happen, like synchronicities and shit, you know. Anyway, Mr. Oaf. Hippocratic Oath. Oh my God, what a name. I really hope that you will watch the debate that I have on my channel. So when you get a chance, please look it up. Yo, this is so cool. Hey, man. Zombie 3 Blue. Zombie Blue is here. Welcome, Zombie Blue. Good to see you. Just doing some live comic book inking. Give you guys a little look at some other pages and stuff. Take a tiny break from this. Look at some art. Actually, this is the next page. It gets pretty violent in the next page. This guy here is one of the bad guys, and one of the good guys sneaks up behind him, and he has this power where he kind of turns into sort of like a lion man, and then he like, you know, pushes the guy against the wall and like punches his head. It's this very fucking gross. Like his brains splatter out. You know, so this dude right here is basically calling somebody to say like detonate a nuclear bomb. Like we've been infiltrated. Or the headquarters is being taken over. You know, detonate the bomb. Detonate the bomb. You know, and here he is like, you know, detonate the bomb, and then he has his head like smashed in by a punch. And then this particular guy has that's him right here. He's got like a mind control over this woman. That's the detonator right there, right next to her. And our hero here is like grabbing her hand and stopping her. She's looking at the detonator, and then whatever. These guys break in, and then she kind of wakes up from the whatever mind control that since this dude just got his head smashed in. So then it's like lovey-dovey, oh baby, oh I'm so. Anyway, that's a thing. But prior to that, what else is going on? There's this other page, not quite finished yet, but it's got God Emperor Trump versus Vladimir Putin, who's got this sort of bomb on him. And there's Trump with his mighty sword saying, Kofefe. Anyway, there's a ton of just crazy shit in this comic. It's insane. Totally insane. I'll just kind of walk through a couple pages. You guys can look at some of the art. I need to back out a little bit. Excuse me. Patty says, I have a theory that the more masculine part of the European population moved to the New World over the centuries. They moved, hold on.